morning, everybody. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Calling the roll for the Monday, March 3rd, 2025 Board of Control meeting. It is 11 a.m. We have Councilmember Meredith Turner,
Present.
Councilmember Robert Schlepper,
Present.
Councilmember Michael Hauser,
Here.
Melanie Say serving as an alternate for Mike Dever, Catherine Gallagher serving as an alternate for Chris Renee, County Executive,
Here.
Mike Chambers, Fiscal Officer serving as Chairman,
Here.
Paul Porter. We have a quorum.
Okay, very good. Next on the agenda is the review and the approval from the minutes from February 24th. I will make a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Turner. All in favor to approve, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes are approved. Is there any public comment?
No public comment.
Go to our first item.
First item, new item for review, BC 2025-132. The item is being withdrawn at the request of the department.
Okay, let's go to our next one.
Next item, BC 2025-133, Department of Public Works submitting an amendment to a contract with Jadco Construction Services Incorporated for restripping and pavement markings in the Cuyahoga County Huntington Park Garage for the period July 25th, 2024 through December 31st, 2024, to extend the time period to September 1st, 2025, to expand the scope of services to include items identified in Exhibits 3 and 4, effective upon signatures of all parties, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $332,268, which includes the contingency fee of $15,000 for deck repairs.
Good morning. Matt Reimer with the Department of Public Works. This contract amendment is for our in-progress construction project at the Huntington Park Garage. The project as a whole and the amendment are being funded by the parking revenue that is brought in by the garage through that fund. This amendment is to extend the time because of the phasing that was needed to get through all the Brown season and the special events that were happening at the convention center to be able to isolate the garage and usable sections to be able to conduct this work. We also found during construction that the deck needed additional repairs and coating in the drive lanes, which weren't originally programmed, and that's what this amendment reflects. There is also approximately $6,720 for some structural connectors on an area of the garage that we found that had some broken connectors.
Okay, thank you, Matt. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make the motion to approve it. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Turner. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved.
Thank you.
Next item, please.
Next item, BC 2025-134, Department of Development recommending an economic development loan to JSAACC LLC or designee in the amount not to exceed $450,000 for real estate acquisition, construction, furniture, fixtures, equipment, and soft costs for the redevelopment of the Africa Town Plaza located at 7515 Cedar Avenue in the city of Cleveland.
Matthew Carey, Department of Development. Hi, Board of Control. Thank you very much for allowing me to address you today. The Department of Development is proposing $450,000 loan to support the historic redevelopment of Africatown Plaza, which is located at 7515 Cedar Avenue in Cleveland, Ohio. The developer, James Sosin, brings over 20 years of experience in real estate development with a strong track record of historic reuse and adaptive reuse projects. He has successfully completed multiple historic rehabilitation projects in Cleveland, utilizing historic tax credits and other complex financing structures to deliver high-quality developments. And his commitment to community development is reflected in his leadership within the Cleveland Restoration Society and the Cuyahoga County Housing Advisory Commission. This project will include 19 housing units, which will be made up of 12 studios and 7 one-bedrooms, of which 7 will be designated as affordable at 80% of area median income. That is not a requirement of the county's financing, but it is of the other financing that's used on this project. The project will also include 11,868 square feet of office space, 5,800 of which has letters of intent in place, and a 3,532 square foot event space, which will be used as a cultural and community venue that will be specifically targeted at immigrants from Africa. The developer, James Sosin, who's here with us today, is himself an immigrant from Africa, and this will start to serve as a hub for that community here in Northeast Ohio. The development is also strategically located near the Cleveland Clinic and along key transit corridors, so it's a transit-oriented development. It's located within walking distance of the Cleveland Clinic and the number 8, number 2, and Healthline transit routes. The project will create a minimum of 9 new full-time jobs with an expected minimum payroll of approximately $350,000. It will bring much-needed investment to a historically disinvested part of the city, and it will also bring back to life a property which was at one point the only YMCA in the city of Cleveland which accepted Black members, so there is a historic and cultural consideration there as well. The county is proposing a $450,000 loan, which will have a 17-year term. That'll be 2 years of interest only, followed by a 15-year fully amortized term, and will have collateral of a second position lien on the property behind the senior lender. The property has an appraisal-supported stabilized value of $4.6 million, which will cover both the senior lender and the county's financing. In addition to the county, there are new markets tax credits, state and federal historic tax credits connected to the project, as well as $976,000 of grants coming from public, private, and nonprofit sources. To mitigate risks associated with the project, for example, construction risk, the developer has extensive experience completing historic renovations and is the general contractor on this project. This project includes office space as part of the project, but there are strong pre-leasing commitments in place, including a signed LOI for several of the office spaces and the event space. And projected cash flows support debt service coverage, which is in excess of the county's minimums. So with all that being said, the Department of Development strongly encourages the approval of this loan, which would, the CCCIC Loan Review Committee had also recommended approval of the loan. And with all that being said, I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Matthew. Are there questions? Please. No questions? Okay, very good. Nice job presenting it. Seeing no questions, I will make the motion to approve it. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Councilman Hauser. All in favor to approve, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Next item, please.
Next item, BC 2025-135, Department of Sustainability submitting a grant agreement with Aqua Missions via contract number 5212 and the amount not to exceed $200,000 to provide funding to offer free swim lessons to fourth grade students in the Cleveland Metropolitan School and Warrensville Heights City School Districts to focus on increasing water safety and building the region's freshwater culture effective upon signature of all parties for a period of 2 years.
Good morning, Brianna Witt for the Department of Sustainability. Submitting a grant agreement with Aqua Missions. These funds come from a HUD grant that we received to create a freshwater institute involving engaging the community into being able to access water, development, other purposes. This is one of our very important ideas of getting children to have access to water. Super important for children to have the ability to learn how to swim as children, because those skills just carry long forward. So the HUD grant itself, $500,000. We've received all the information paperwork back from HUD, executed on their end, and we're just waiting for the county executive's signature to have that completely finalized and ready to go.
Okay, Brianna, thank you. Are there questions from the board on this item?
I have a comment.
Please.
So I had an opportunity to accompany the executive over to Cleveland State University, I guess about a month or maybe 2 ago, when Congresswoman Shontel Brown presented a nice fat check also for this program. I'm really excited that one of the pilot programs is taking place in my district, Warrensville Heights. Superintendent Donald Jolly was there. So I think this is amazing. I also supported an organization that provides swim lessons and swim safety for community and kids and adults. And so I guess my question, Brianna, is, and maybe you don't know, but what would we have to do to make this a program that's sustainable throughout the county?
We'd have to identify additional funding. That's really the goal. I mean, whether we can find federal funding or show other community partners the success of these kind of programs. That's as much as I can speak to that. The department would be able to, and more than happy to, engage you further on that.
Okay, thank you. I think this is amazing. So
Okay.
I support you.
Any final questions from the board? No? Seeing no further questions, I will make the motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Turner. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Next item, please.
Next, item BC 2025-136 is being held at the request of the council president.
Okay, let's move on to our next item.
Next, item BC 2025-137, Department of Information Technology, on behalf of the Department of Housing and Community Development, submitting an RFP exemption, which will result in award recommendation to M&J Technologies Direct Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $12,966 for a joint cooperative purchase of 6 each Microsoft Surface Pro 10 tablets, docking stations, keyboards with slim pens, and 12 monitors, and submitting a purchase order with said RFP exemption.
Good morning, Brianna Witt for the Department of Information Technology. This purchase is for housing community development. It's 6 systems with all the necessary peripherals, matches our standard IT setups for employees.
Okay, Brianna, thank you. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve it. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Paul Porter. All in favor to approve, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Next item.
Next, item BC 2025-138, Department of Information Technology submitting an RFP exemption, which will result in award recommendation to M&J Technologies Direct Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $89,452 for a state contract purchase of 44 HP ZBook Firefly mobile workstations, each to include HP CarePack Absolute Control for Education 5-year warranty, HP CarePack Premium On-Site Support 4-year warranty, and docking stations for the Veterans Service Commission, and submitting a purchase order with said RFP exemption.
Good morning, Brianna Witt for the Department of Information Technology. This is a purchase for systems for the Veterans Service Commission. They're moving into their new headquarters building, new systems to accompany that, 44, and all the peripherals that meet the county's standards.
Okay, thank you, Brianna. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make the motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Schlepper. All in favor to approve, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Next item.
Next, item BC 2025-139, Department of Information Technology submitting an RFP exemption, which will result in award recommendation to SHI International Corporation and the amount not to exceed $7,281.75 for a joint cooperative purchase for maintenance and support services of the XIA network tabs with various effective dates between January 28, 2025 and March 3, 2025 through January 27, 2026, and submitting a purchase order with said RFP exemption.
Good morning, Brianna Witt for the Department of Information Technology. This network tap software and system, it allows monitoring real-time network traffic. So all county networks, we can see the real life, we can see all of the traffic. It allows us to send information for security. It provides abilities to provide more integral analysis and analytics.
Okay, thank you again. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make the motion to approve it. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Schlepper. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Next item?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, item BC 2025-140 is being held at the request of the council president.
Okay, next item, please.
Next, item BC 2025-141, Court of Common Pleas Juvenile Court Division submitting an amendment to a contract with Ohio Guidestone for sex offender assessment and treatment services for court-referred youth project for the period July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2025, to extend the time period to June 30th, 2026, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $155,000 allocated as listed for items A through C on the printed agenda.
Good morning, Jennifer Howard for Juvenile Court. We're asking to amend this contract until June of 2026 and for the additional funds to cover that time period.
Okay, Jennifer, thank you. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make the motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Hauser. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Next item?
Next, item BC 2025-142, Court of Common Pleas Juvenile Court Division submitting an amendment to a contract with Cleveland Peacemakers Incorporated, DBA Cleveland Peacemakers Alliance for mentoring services for court-referred youths ages 11 to 18 with high risk for recidivism for the period July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024, to extend the time period to June 30th, 2026, and for additional funds in an amount not to exceed $110,600.
Again, Jennifer Howard for the Juvenile Court. This is an amendment to extend our current contract to June of 2026 and also for additional funds to cover that time period.
Thank you, Jennifer. Are there questions? Yes, please.
Jennifer, I just had a quick question. Have you guys seen any improvement with youth ages 11 to 8 as far as recidivism with the work that Peacemakers have done?
I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
Because we're at capacity, I do believe, with this program. But I can definitely get some numbers and things and get back to you with that.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Jennifer.
Are there additional questions?
I had a similar question.
Please.
Are we tracking them,
Yes, ma'am.
and what metrics are we using? Being at capacity is, I don't know.
So,
'Cause
when they do these contracts, they have a set number of youth that they're going to, their intention is to serve. So each contract might have a different number. Some might have 10, some might have 20, some might have 30. So based on previous numbers is how they kind of set the numbers for the current contracts. And I'm not quite sure what this number is for this one, but I can definitely ask.
I think I would be more interested in knowing how are we measuring success.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any final questions? Okay, therefore, I will make the motion to approve the item. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilman Hauser. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Next item.
Next, item BC 2025-143, Court of Common Pleas Juvenile Court Division submitting an RFP exemption which will result in award recommendation to New Community Restorative Justice LLC and the amount not to exceed $150,000 to provide restorative justice diversion program services to court-referred youth 14 years of age or older with pending delinquency matters for the period July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2026, and submitting a contract with said RFP exemption.
Good morning, Jennifer for Juvenile Court. Again, this is a new contract that is being started based on the request of the grant, the vendor, and the program was written into the grant, and it is being backdated to the start of the fiscal year for this grant to provide these services for this time period and for this dollar amount.
Okay, Jennifer, thank you. Are there questions from the board on this item?
Through the chair.
Please.
I would have the same questions, basically.
How it's being measured?
Yes.
and-
I had a question through the chair as well. Can you describe when we list restorative justice diversion programming? Can you give us an example of what that looks like?
This vendor is basically working with other mentors in the area to provide mentorship, education, to kind of prevent these youth from being in the system, or if they're in the system, to prevent them from being repeated offenders in the system. It's a support system that is given as part of the court process.
Any final questions? Okay, then Jennifer, make sure, you can give it to Cheryl, she'll feed it, thank you. Seeing no further questions, I will make the motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Schlepper. All in favor to approve, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved.
Thank
Next
you.
item. Thank you.
Next item, BC 2025-144, County Prosecutor submitting an amendment to a memorandum of understanding with Ohio Attorney General, care of Treasurer, State of Ohio, Bureau of Criminal Identification and Investigation for 8 CODIS familial searches for the period March 21st, 2024 through December 1st, 2024, to extend the time period to December 31st, 2025, to replace Article 2, Section B, renewal term, to modify payment terms effective September 2nd, 2024, and for additional funds, the amount not to exceed $55,709.75 in connection with the FY 2021 and FY 2022 National Sexual Assault Kit Initiative and Prosecuting Cold Cases Grants.
Good morning. I'm Mary Weston from the Cuyahoga County Prosecutor's Office. We are seeking approval to extend an MOU that we have with the Attorney General of Ohio and add funding to that MOU. The funds would come from 3 of our existing federal grants. 2 of those are Sexual Assault Kit Initiative grants, and 1 of them is a Prosecuting Cold Cases Using DNA grant. With that funding, we seek to ask the Attorney General to do approximately 12 searches, CODIS familial searches this year. In the first year of our MOU with them, we estimated they would be able to do 8 searches. They actually did 13, and it allowed us to identify 8 DNA profiles that solved 10 stranger rapes. With this additional funding, we hope in 2025 to conduct approximately 12 additional searches and solve identify additional DNA profiles. All of these DNA profiles have been vetted by us and the labs so that we are confident that these are the DNA profiles of the perpetrator or will otherwise advance the investigation. So the goal is to identify DNA profiles in order to prosecute violent offenders, bring justice to victims, and make our community safer.
Okay, thank you, Mary. Are there questions from the board? Seeing no questions, I will make the motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Turner. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Oppose? The item is approved. Next item. Thank you, Mary.
Next item, BC 2025-145, Medical Examiner's Office submitting an RFP exemption which will result in an award recommendation to Promega Corporation in the amount not to exceed $6,548.38 for the purchase of 1 each PowerPlex Fusion System and 1 DNA IQ systems for forensic casework analysis, and submitting a purchase order with said RFP exemption.
Hugh Shannon, Medical Examiner's Office. This is these kits are used in our DNA lab. They're also used in our parentage and identification lab, which is separate. If you've been to our office, you would have known that we have separate labs there. Parentage actually does generate some revenue. We do a lot of work for incoming immigrants and also some familial testing for paternity for the courts. So that's what this one is designated for, this system.
Okay. Are there any questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Schlepper. All in favor to approve, say aye. Aye. Oppose? The item is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item?
Next item, BC 2025-146, is being held at the request of the department.
Okay. How about next item?
Next item, BC 2025-147, Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Senior and Adult Services, submitting an RFP exemption which will result in a payment to Verge Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $69,547.84 as final payment for invoices for the period October 1st, 2024 through October 31st, 2024 for the Comprehensive Case Management Employment Program, Employment Education and Training Services for Young Adults rendered on contract number 2389 during the contract term April 1st, 2022 through October 31st, 2024, and submitting a purchase order with said RFP exemption.
Good morning, Marcos Cortez with Health and Human Services on behalf of Cuyahoga Jobs and Family Services. Again, this is a purchase order to pay a final invoice. Verge was part of a master contract with Youth Opportunities Unlimited for our youth employment program, summer youth employment program. This contract ended at the end of October 2024. Verge turned their final invoice in after the end of the year closeout. Because this was a master and we moved money around a lot in that master, we wanted to ensure that this final invoice came within the total value of the contract. We determined that it did, so we submitted this final purchase order to pay that final invoice. Cheryl, it's supposed to be Cuyahoga Jobs and Family Services, not
Okay. Amending to.
Senior and Adult Services.
Okay, Marcos, thank you. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve it. Is there a second?
As amended.
As amended, thank you. Good catch. Seconded by Councilman Hauser. All in favor to approve as amended, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved as amended.
Thank you.
Next item.
Moving on to exemption, item BC 2025-148, Medical Examiner's Office requesting an alternative procurement process which will result in award recommendations to various providers in the total amount not to exceed $40,000 for the purchase of meals, refreshments, and supplies for participants of the Citizens Academy and Medical Legal Death Investigation Training programs for the period March 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2025, as listed for items A through E on the printed agenda.
Morning, Paul Porter, Department of Purchasing. These are standard purchases that the medical examiner's office makes that are funded by the fees paid by the participants in the Citizens Academy and the Medical Legal Death Investigation Training Program. They use a variety of local businesses just for the meals that are offered during those programs.
Oh, do you care to add anything?
If Hugh Shannon wants to add anything.
Prosecutor before. Were there questions? Sorry.
I haven't asked yet, but
Okay.
are there any questions from the board?
I just have a quick question. How many participants are in the program? And then just being new to council, can you give me a little background on both programs?
So there are several training programs that we run throughout the year. We also have the Citizens Academy, which we do 2 programs a year there. The training sessions that we do run are generally for prosecutors, law enforcement, other coroners' offices around the state, or from outside the region, actually. They are CLE accredited, so they get they can get their credit, their CME and CLE credits for those. And we do charge for those. So a lot of what we're food-wise are getting reimbursed through the fees that we're charging. Generally, the training classes are, depending on which one, we have 3 levels. We have an intermediate, a basic, an intermediate, and an advanced, and it goes from 35 down to like 20, I think. So we see about 100, 150 people a year for those. We do have some special trainings that are being done. Dr. Gilson has brought in an entomologist, a forensic entomologist for this year that will be talking about the use of insects as a forensic tool for identification and other things. I won't go into too much detail. Hey, sign up for the course if you're really interested. That's what it's for. But
It's high on my list, yeah, okay. Thank
I
you,
know
Hugh.
you'll be there, Mike.
Are there questions, please? Did that answer all the questions then? Yeah, all right, thank you. Seeing no further questions, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilman Schlepper. All in favor to approve, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hugh. Moving on? Yep.
Moving on to consent agenda items BC 2025-149 through BC 2025-151.
Just a couple of items, council members and board members. If there's any questions, feel free. Okay, seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve today's consent agenda items as listed. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Turner. All in favor to approve, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? The items are approved. Is there other business?
Other business?
Public comment?
There was no public comment?
I will make a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? Seconded by Ms. Melanie Say. All in favor to adjourn, say aye. Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.
Mike and Katie, can I get you guys for just a second?